Hello and welcome back to the AA NBA podcast. I'm your host, Aiden Hammond.
And I'm Aditya.
And today we've got a loaded episode. All-Star Weekend is this weekend. We're at about the halfway point, so we're going to do our halfway NBA awards. We got our power rankings, and we do have a little bit of news.
Yeah.
But let's start off with our power rankings. You want to go first? I think I went first last week, so you should probably go first
I'll
this
take
week.
the lead for this one. Coming in at number 5, the Los Angeles Lakers. They went 1-2 this week. They slipped to the 3 seed in the West. They beat the Warriors, then they lost to the Suns and the Kings. Obviously Anthony Davis is still out, so that hurts them. And then we'll talk a little bit about officiating later, but Montrezl Harrell got a tech for saying "and one." So
Yeah, that was bullshit.
but yeah, we'll talk about that a little more later.
Yeah. All right. My number 5 is the Lakers as well. They're 3-7 over their last 10. It was either them or the Clippers really for this 5th spot, and the Lakers are still a half game better than the Clippers. The Clippers were 0-3 this week. They're only a game better in their last 10. So really, both of these teams are on a bad skid right now. So that's why I got the Lakers at 3 or at 5 because they're the 3 seed in the West.
Yeah.
But they're still better than most of the East, so
yeah,
that's
they
good.
would. I mean, they'd be tied for the 2 seed right now.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is the Brooklyn Nets. They went 2-1 this week, which was a pretty common
Our lists are going to be very similar.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most every good team either went 2-1 or 1-2. So,
Yeah.
the Nets, they beat the Spurs and the Rockets. They dropped one to the Mavs. And obviously, they're still missing Kevin Durant, but James Harden and Kyrie is more than enough to carry the load.
Yeah. I got the Nets as well. Pretty much everything you said is true. They're the 2nd seed in the East. I do think that they are better than the 76ers, but their record just doesn't reflect it. And they didn't have a super great week this week. I mean, they went 1-2, so I couldn't.
The
put
Nets
them over
went
the
2-1.
Wait, did they?
I believe so.
They beat the Rockets. Oh yeah, they beat the Rockets and the Spurs, and I thought they lost to the Spurs. Okay. Yeah, they went 2-1.
That
But
was
the
the game
Sixers
where
also
James
had-
Harden completely took over.
Yeah, the Sixers probably had the best win of the week, so that's why I had to keep them above. All right, what's your 3?
My number 3 is actually the Sixers. They went 2-1 this week. I think our 1 and 2 might maybe be a little different. I don't know.
I
probably.
can't imagine they are.
They beat the Jazz, which is the best win in the NBA right now.
Yep.
They beat the Pacers, who have admittedly been quite
Terrible.
ass. Yeah. And then they lost to the Cavs, which isn't great. But, yeah. I keep saying this, but I hate saying it, but we'll talk more about them later and some other stuff. But
We truly will talk about them later.
yeah, we're not just saying that. We will actually be talking about all these teams later. There's a lot of stuff to cover this week. So
Yeah, I got the Sixers at 1 or at 3 as well. They're the 1st seed in the East. They're only a half game ahead of the Nets, and I really wanted to put the Nets ahead of them, but they had that win against the Jazz this week, which was a great win. Even if some people on the Jazz don't think they deserve to win, I think the Sixers deserve to win that game.
yeah.
So
Even
yeah,
though
that was
the
a
way
that
they
was a really
won
great
it
game.
wasn't great, but they should have still won.
Yeah, but Joel had 40 and 20,
Yeah, no, I know.
on the best defensive player
I think
or the best
they
defensive center in the league.
They probably still would have won the game, but it's easy to say oh well, this happened, so now they won the game because of that.
Yeah,
When obviously that's not the case, but
yeah.
I
But
think
they had the best win, so that I got them at 3.
here's where our lists may differ. Actually, I got the Jazz at number 2.
Oh, wait, what?
They went 1-2 this week, which is not amazing. They lost to the Pels and the Thunder. So even though they have the best record in the league right now, they've been on a bit of the last 2 weeks. They've dropped a few games that maybe they shouldn't have dropped. So I had to knock them down a little bit.
Damn, I got the Suns at 2. Even though the Jazz had kind of a shitty week, they're still solidly ahead of the Suns in the rankings. They're 2.5 games ahead. Wait, I have the Suns at 2. Yeah. I've got the Suns at 2. They're probably the hottest team in the league right now, outside of the Nets. They're the hottest team in the West. They're 8-2 over the last 10, but they are still about 3 games back from the Jazz. So I couldn't really put them over them yet. But if they have another week like the Jazz, or if the Jazz have another week like they did in 2 weeks, then I guess we can't really do power rankings next week.
Yeah, that'll be like, what, 2 games, 3 games for not even 3, like 1 or 2 games for each team.
Maybe 1, because don't they take like 5 days off after don't they start again on like the next Saturday? I think
it's either Friday or Saturday. I think.
Yeah.
So there probably won't be a power rankings next week. But yeah. And number 1, I have the Suns. I guess I just kind of held like this last week more against the Jazz than anything, because in their last 2 weeks they're 3-3, which is like okay, it's not bad, but they haven't been as good over the past 2 weeks as they have been previously, and the Suns are like super hot right now. So I was just holding the standings on more of a week-to-week basis, I guess.
That's fair. I think, I got the Jazz at 1 because I'm doing kind of the opposite, where I just do it over the full season and kind of take the last 2 weeks into account, so I totally get it. But yeah, I got the Jazz at 1 because they still are like far and away the best team in the league record-wise. Yeah.
All right. Now on to some... You want to do the awards or the news?
Let's do news. Let's end with awards, because we got a lot of news. We're just going to have to go like kind of bang bang.
Yeah. First things first. Mike Conley is replacing Devin Booker in the All-Star game. Yes, sir. Because Devin Booker hurt something.
Left knee sprain, I think.
Left knee sprain. Yes. So Mike Conley...
So he's okay.
Yeah, no, he'll be fine. But probably just taking the week off. Mike Conley getting a well-deserved All-Star nod for his career.
Yeah, people are really mad about this because, I would say that there are probably 5 or 6 players in the West who are statistically better and more... I would say probably Jamal Murray... SGA, Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox.
Here's the thing with the
DeMar
All-Star
DeRozan
game is like the bottom. Like, it's not like the coaches spread out the minutes evenly. Bottom of the rotation guys play like 5 minutes, so it doesn't really matter.
I think Sabonis had like 2 minutes last year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He'll play like a few minutes maybe.
Yeah,
but if they're doing the same, I think they are doing the same scoring system as they did last year. And they're still doing the thing where they donate to charities and stuff, so teams are going to be, players are going to be more inclined to win. Coaches aren't going to just spread out the minutes for the fun of it. They're actually trying to win the game. So
yeah, if you're genuinely mad that Mike Conley got an All-Star nod, fuck off. That, I get it. Like, DeMar probably deserved it more, but at the same time, Mike Conley's been snubbed probably 5 times that I can just remember. Or maybe not even snubbed. He just deserved to make it, but there were so many good guards in the West that he didn't. Mm-hmm. So he finally got one. He's been incredible for his whole career, so I'm not mad about Mike Conley making this. And if you are, get Sugma.
Dude, what's Sugma?
Oh, dude. Yeah, so... And Mike Conley, All-Star, well-deserved.
Next up, Blake Griffin has been bought out by the Pistons.
Yep.
So
this is probably, I would say, the number 1 news story this week.
Yeah.
Right? It's probably one of the biggest Woj bombs all year.
I saw I forget where I saw it. It was a post. It's like, if the Nets get Blake Griffin, are they the greatest team ever or something like that? And it's like, bro, this is...
If they got 5 years ago, Blake Griffin.
Yeah, this is 2021 Blake Griffin. And, people are defending him, saying, he's been injured this whole season. He hasn't been fully healthy. And, I get that. But if he hasn't been healthy up to this point, he's probably not going to be healthy for the rest of the season, I would imagine.
Look, you know me. I'm generally... I don't even really like Blake Griffin, but I defend him because I think a lot of the hate he gets is undeserved. However... or at least basketball hate. As a person, he's kind of shitty. But in terms of basketball, I think he's still a pretty good basketball player. He does not put the Nets over the top as the greatest team ever assembled. Like, that's a fucking ridiculous notion. He's all right. I think he strengthens their starting five. If he starts, he'd be a very good sixth man for them. But like, I mean,
he's still
even
a solid player, but he's not.
Yeah,
he's not.
This isn't even
Blake Griffin.
This isn't 28. Like, Blake Griffin was really good like 2 years ago, but then he got hurt like 4 times, and he's not that player anymore. Yeah. Like, Blake Griffin was one of those guys that people were talking about, like a guy that really adjusted his game. He learned to shoot. He was facilitating with the ball more. And you know, he can still kind of do that. Like, he has adjusted his game to the point where his athleticism being completely sapped has not killed his career. But at the same time, he's also not that player anymore. Like, he's all right at facilitating still. He's still pretty athletic. Like, Blake Griffin, who's sapped of his athleticism, is still better than, like, a better athlete than, I would say, like, probably 60 or 70% of the NBA. Like, he can still run and jump high. He's just, you know, he hasn't been great this year, but I think he definitely strengthens the Nets bench. I think the best spot for him is the Lakers, though. I think that the Lakers have a need at power forward. He's definitely, like, I know some people really hate Blake Griffin, and you're not going to want to hear this, but he is better than Markieff Morris and Kyle Kuzma. He just is. He would be a better starting power forward option for the Lakers than both of those guys with Anthony Davis out for probably a couple months. I would guess that they keep him out as long as they make sure he's as healthy as possible for the playoffs. And I think Blake Griffin would make them significantly better in Anthony Davis's absence, at least at the 4. Like, so I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I think he would be more appreciated on the Lakers. I think he would be a better fit for them as well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think he's the type of guy where, like, he could go anywhere, really. Maybe not anywhere, but like most teams, because
any contender.
Because you said it. You said it best. He's kind of transitioned his game into being able to do more than just, you know, be athletic. He isn't relying on that as much. He can shoot the ball. He can play make a little bit. He's still a solid player for any team.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit on multiple contenders. I think the Lakers would be a really good place for him, because then he could also stick it to Steve Ballmer a little bit, and I know he would like to do that. And he also still has a place in Los Angeles. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be, and he would also get the most minutes. He's not going to get a ton of minutes on the Nets, or at least significantly more minutes than he's getting right now on the Pistons.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one benefit is I don't know if he's still friends with DeAndre Jordan, but if he goes to the Nets, they could play again, you know?
I don't think he has any. I think the only beef he has is with the Clippers organization in general, and maybe a little bit with Chris Paul. But I think I think they kind of squashed that anyway.
Okay. Then yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that whole situation. It is weird.
But regardless, I think the Nets are probably the most likely destination, followed closely by the Lakers, and I think the Lakers would be a better destination for him than the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
At least just knowing how spiteful he is towards the Clippers, I think he would really appreciate an opportunity to beat them in the playoffs.
That'd be pretty fun. For him,
it would be pretty
obviously,
fun.
not for Clippers fans.
Not for the Clippers fans. I don't know who I would root for in that series, because I still don't really like the Lakers, but I also don't really like the Clippers, and I think it would be funny to watch them, like, lose to the Lakers and their former, like,
wait, you don't like the Clippers
arguably
now?
the best player in the history. I don't like Paul George. Like, they're still an LA team. They kind of fucked me over last year. I really needed them to.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I thought you were a big Clippers,
finals.
or not a big Clippers guy, but I thought you liked the Clippers a little more last year.
I did, but you know, they kind of like Paul George is. I never really liked Paul George, and now that he didn't really play a ton last year, so I didn't have to watch Paul George, and now that I have to watch Paul George all the time, and I do kind of hate him, it makes me hate the Clippers a little more. So, you know, I still like Kawhi though. Like, I'd be fine if the Clippers. I'd like it if the Clippers won the championship more than the Lakers, but like, I don't really want either team to win the championship.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, next up, Lloyd Pierce has officially been fired as the Atlanta Hawks head coach, and Nate McMillan has stepped in as the interim.
How do you feel about this? Because I've got a little bit of a rant about it, but I want to know how you feel first.
I don't think it was a bad move. I think they maybe should have waited until they had another coach planned, unless they are planning to ride with Nate McMillan. I don't know. But like right now he's just the interim, so I don't know where they're going from here. But I don't think because they sort of rushed the process in Atlanta, I feel like, where they went from having this young core where like they just needed maybe a veteran presence to help them develop to bringing in a bunch of veterans and like trying to compete right away, which I don't know if that was the right move. But if that is what they're trying to do, then I think they need a better coach than Lloyd Pierce.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to go into my rant real quick.
That.
It's not going to be a very long rant. But first of all, I want to get this off my chest. I really like Lloyd Pierce. I think he's a good guy. He's done a lot for the city of Atlanta while he's been there. He's very involved with the community. And I don't think he really got a fair scratch. That's my 2 cents. I think that, kind of the same as Ryan Saunders, but Ryan Saunders is a little bit different. Like, Lloyd Pierce never, ever, he didn't have a team for his first 2 years. So this was essentially his first year with a team that could really compete. And I get it. They're shitty. They're the 11th seed right now. But there's 3 games separating them and the Celtics. And the Celtics are the fucking 4 seed. So that's basically saying that not only is Atlanta not out of it, they're very much in the playoff race right now. Atlanta could easily be the 6th seed. Like, I could see Atlanta being the 6th seed, maybe even the 5 if the Knicks fall off and the Hornets fall off a little bit, and the Pacers have already fallen off. So I think that's there. I think this is a premature move. This is a 72-game season. We're halfway through, and the Hawks are still very much in playoff contention. If they were completely out of it, I might get it a little more. Also, they just got Gallinari back. Gallinari's like their 3rd best player. Let's be fucking honest here. Like, Trae Young is obviously the best, and then, I don't know, 2nd best is like Cam Reddish some nights, DeAndre Hunter some nights, some nights it's John Collins, but Danilo Gallinari is...
out.
Yeah, he is still out, but like when he's in, he's been like their 2nd best player this year, maybe. Yeah. Like, it's some nights he is. But regardless, Gallinari is solidly in that 3rd slot. Sometimes he is their 2nd best player, but he's been fucking injured this whole year. So he just gets back, and then you choose to fire him. And the Hawks had a skid. They're back up to 5-5 over their last 10. 2 weeks ago, they were like 2-8 or 3-7. Like, if you're gonna fire him right when the team is starting to gain a little bit of traction in the East with their 3rd or 2nd best player back, I don't understand why the fuck you choose to fire him now. That bothers me a lot. I don't know why you can't just give him until the end of the year. If they don't make the playoffs, sure, then you could fire him. But I don't understand why you fire him when you're the 11th seed in a very tight Eastern Conference playoff race, not only not giving him a chance to heal this team, but not even giving him a chance to redeem himself. Like, he is not going to get another head coaching job for a while. There is not going to be an NBA team that looks at Lloyd Pierce and is like, oh, you're like... He probably has like a, 0.3 winning percentage with the Hawks. Like, the team's been dog shit. But they also really haven't given him much to work with. So I don't understand why they chose right now to fire him. I will say, I'm glad Nate McMillan got another shot. I really unlike a lot of Pacers fans, I really like Nate. I thought he was a good dude. I didn't really agree with firing him. Like, I kind of got it, but like I didn't love the firing. But I understand why he had to go. And I'm glad he's getting another chance in Atlanta. And I'm hoping he takes the head coaching spot. But I just don't understand why now was the time they chose to fire Lloyd Pierce. That just seems like feels like they jumped the shark, kind of. I don't understand why you couldn't, if you miss the playoffs again. Yeah, it doesn't really apply to basketball, but it's like when you do something way too soon in a TV show and it kind of hurts the rest of the plot.
Don't they say jump ship?
No. I mean, jump the shark is the expression I'm referring to. But regardless, like, they did this way too early. Like, what is this? His halfway through his 2nd year? Or his 3rd year? I don't know. This just feels a little... You got to give... when you finally give a coach a team in his 3rd year, you got to wait, like, until the end of that year to fire him. If he still sucks at the end of the year, then sure. But, like... The Hawks aren't out of it. I don't really get firing a coach right around the All-Star break unless they're horrible.
Good rant.
That's my rant though. That's the longest rant we've had on the podcast in a while. That's the angriest I've been on the podcast in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's firings like that kind of piss me off. Like I got the Ryan Saunders hot firing because the Timberwolves are fucking atrocious, but the Hawks are not that bad. Like they're still firmly in the playoff race. I don't know. That shit kind of bothers me when a team finally gives a coach some players to work with, and the coach isn't great right off the bat, and they also have a couple major injuries, and then, I don't know.
That makes sense. I can see where you're coming from with that.
But regardless, Nate's a good dude. I'm glad he got a second chance with the team. So, ready to see Trae Young start pulling up from the mid-range.
Yeah, dude, no more 40-footers for Trae Young.
Yeah, no more 40-footers for Trae.
Maybe one or two.
You get one at the end of every quarter.
Yeah.
Better make them count, buddy.
You don't make it in the first quarter, you don't get one in the second quarter.
Speaking of Trae, do you want to go into officiating?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
You want to take this one? Or start off with this
like,
one,
I don't know. Do you want to just talk about how bad it's been this season with, like... Okay, let's start off with this. So refs are kind of on power trips this year. It feels like there's a month or two every NBA season where the refs are just on a power trip and they're handing out texts left and right. Like, I've never really understood fining players for criticizing officiating. Like, I get it. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were probably a little out of line with criticizing the officials after that game because Don probably deserved that tech that he got. But they both got fined. They got fined a combined $45,000, which obviously they both just signed like $200 million extensions. They don't care about the $45,000 combined between the two of them. But it does kind of feel like if you don't allow the players to criticize the league, that just feels like kind of a bullshit, like, I don't know. For claiming to be a players' league, the NBA does a really bad job with players talking about officiating.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to bring this up is I was watching the Knuckleheads podcast. I've been watching that a little bit. It's Darius Miles
the one
and
with Quentin Richardson?
Yeah, Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles, and they host they host all kinds of players, but a lot of it's like players from their era or that they played with, or something like that. And they had Al Harrington on there, and they were talking about how David Stern was he actually really knew about all the players because Al Harrington, there was one off season where he just went to talk to him or whatever, and David Stern was like, "Hey, how's your knee doing?" And Al Harrington said he was surprised by it because he didn't have any major huge knee injury, but he had a minor surgery to tweak some things. But David Stern just knew about it, he knew about every single individual player. And then that also got me thinking, this stuff, players didn't get in trouble for stuff like this very often when he was the commissioner. Granted, I know they want to be a little more safe after the Malice of the Palace, but this kind of feels like it's been overdone. Allen Iverson, I don't think he got fined after his entire practice rant,
I think he did get fined by the Sixers. I'm not 100% sure,
but not by the league.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen at all. And now you can't even criticize the officials, and the officials aren't going to get anything. They're not going to get a fine. They're not going to get, they're going to have to meet with Adam Silver and talk about ways to fix this. They just go about their job and do it the same way they've been doing it with no repercussions.
I kind of get the fines if a player touches an official in any way.
Different.
I understand that because they're the NBA had a lot of fights at a certain point in the league, but criticizing officiating is something in every sport. I don't know a ton of players that have gotten fined for criticizing calls in the NFL. That's just, and the NFL is not even the NFL doesn't claim to be a players league. I don't think any fans think the NFL is a players league. It's very clearly not a players league. It's an owners league. And I don't even think they get fined for that sort of shit. So I don't know why the NBA does it at all. Like, you're telling me the players can't complain about bad officiating? That just feels like kind of a ridiculous
Well, the problem
precedent.
is it's like there's also, I feel like, situational awareness a ref has to have. When you're in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and you're getting a technical foul and potentially ejected from the game, you're going to be upset about it because this is a crucial game on the line.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing that happened, like the Donovan Mitchell thing that happened, the Montrezl Harrell thing that happened, but then it's also like, what was it, a week or two ago, JJ Redick got ejected for tossing the ball to the ref with a spin on it. For like no reason. Like
it was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
One of the worst ejections I've ever seen.
Yeah, and again, nothing happened to the ref, and JJ Redick just didn't get to play the rest of the game. And I think if you get ejected a certain amount of times, you have to like pay a fine or something to the league. And it's like, it's dumb.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't understand why the NBA. I don't know. It just feels like the officials in the NBA more than any other league have a total god complex that really bothers all the players and bothers the fans because like we see it too. Like when we see an official get a wild hair up their ass about a player, it just bothers everybody. Like the NBA should do a much better job about keeping their officials in check if they really want to claim to be a players league.
And the worst part about it
doesn't feel like a players league when shit like this happens.
The worst part about it is that, like, half the time, if the player, like, not even complains to the ref, but goes up to talk to them about, like, why the foul was called, the ref just ignores them. They're like, I'm not talking about this. Get out of my face. And it's like, what's the point?
And also, let me just say this. LeBron and Kawhi and Giannis are allowed to talk to the refs, and they're allowed to throw their hands up, and they're allowed to complain all they want. But the second a player like Donovan Mitchell or like De'Aaron Fox or JJ Redick starts to talk back to a ref about a bad call, they're the ones that get fined or ejected. I say De'Aaron Fox as an example. I don't think he ever has gotten ejected, but he's a player kind of like in that Donovan Mitchell range, like not really a superstar, but a very good player.
An all-star.
And, JJ Redick is an all-star caliber player, and then JJ Redick's a respected veteran. You're telling me that a respected veteran can't put a little bit of attitude on a toss back to an official after a bad call without getting ejected?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And it was
I don't know.
like...
There's definitely a double standard, though.
The problem, too, is it's like the younger refs that are doing this, too. Like, if you remember, Kemba got his first ever career ejection to a ref that was like his first game or second game officiating.
Yes.
Like,
No, I remember that.
Yeah, so, like, it's not like... It's obviously the older guys do it, too, but it's like the younger guys are essentially... I think they're, like, being trained to be like that. Like, that's part of their, like, ref training.
Because... Like, I get it. Like, Joey Crawford?
Yeah.
Like, the guy that...
Is he the guy that, he teed up
He's the guy that teed up Tim Duncan. Yeah. But he did some shit like that, but it was not, like... He didn't really go out of his way to antagonize the players like it seems like refs today do. Mm-hmm. Like, he was kind of a showman, and he liked being the center of attention as a ref, which, say what you want about that. I don't really care. I think a lot of his clips are kind of funny, but regardless, he didn't do it like refs today do it. Refs go out of their way to piss off the players and then and then tee them up or eject them, which I don't love. I don't think that's a great look for the league.
And the worst part about it is like the NBA has tried to fix this by putting in like the challenge call, like that you can challenge the play or whatever. But if the refs aren't willing to admit that they messed up or even consider the other side's opinion, the challenges are useless.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of the stupidest things in the world. It's like if a government official committed a crime and they were like, okay, well, we're going to hire the department you work for to investigate this crime. Like, of course they're not going to, they're not going to do shit about it. Like, the refs aren't going to do shit about it if they make a bad call. Of course not, because then they have to admit that they messed up, and they've got way too much hubris to admit that they messed up. I don't understand it.
Yeah. And I feel like we have this conversation every few months, or at least like once or twice a season, because it's been going on for a while.
No, I said it earlier that I was like, it seems like there's like a month or two every NBA season where the refs get like a fucking god complex.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, it obviously doesn't happen every game, but the games that it does happen, it's like you kind of don't want to watch that game anymore after that. Because it just kind of kills the whole mood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's our rant on NBA officiating.
Yeah, a lot of rants this episode.
Yeah, well, a lot of problems. So, all right. Next up, I don't think we talked about this last week. Victor Oladipo turned down a 2-year max contract from the Rockets.
Victor Oladipo wants so badly to be in Miami. It's ridiculous. Victor Oladipo, I do kind of feel for, like, not really, because, he kind of fucked over the Pacers. But, I mean, he didn't fuck over the Pacers, but he kind of fucked over the fans, because the fans embraced you, Victor, and then you left.
And then you left and said that we betrayed you or whatever. We turned our back on you or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But Victor Oladipo, it is kind of sad to see a player who definitely was going to be a max player get hurt and not become that player. Like, Victor Oladipo values himself.
Contract.
Well, yeah, but Victor Oladipo wants to be $100 million man, and he's just not. Like,
didn't the Pacers offer him $100 million?
I think they offered him it was in that range, but I guess he wants to be like a $110, $120 million max guy, and he's just not that guy. Like, teams just aren't gonna really do that. Teams might throw him 90 or 100, but nobody's gonna be going out. Nobody's tripping over themselves to throw Victor Oladipo $130 million.
Yeah, you're not getting a line outside your door of NBA GMs just saying, "Please take our money, Victor."
Yeah.
Which does suck, because he was really good for the Pacers before he got hurt, and even like this season when he played, he was pretty good. But if you don't want to be here, don't say we turned our back on you.
Yeah.
Or that we gave up on you or whatever, and then turn around and decline a max contract because you want to go play for Miami. Because if that's what you wanted to do in the first place, then don't complain about it.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. That's just, yeah.
Next, we got 2 more things on the palette. We got the awards and the trade corner. So
let's do trade corner.
Let's do trade corner. All right. First up, the Kings are shopping Marvin Bagley.
He's been good this year.
He's been okay. The thing about the Kings, to me, is they're doing everything except shopping Buddy Hield and firing Luke Walton. So,
which are the 2 things they should be doing.
Exactly.
I think Marvin Bagley gets a lot of shit for being the guy taken before Luka. But, he's been hurt a lot, so I'm not going to... I can't really hold that against him. And he's been decent this year. He's averaging 14 and 7-ish.
Yeah, he's okay.
On 26 minutes a game, that's pretty decent production.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what he fetches. I think maybe if you're a team that needs a 4, I think he could maybe, and you're a team that's kind of contending. I think the Lakers would maybe be a good team to throw a first round pick at him.
Fan. You're just saying every player wants to go to the Lakers.
Well, I mean, I'm just the Lakers have a need at. We've talked about 2 power forwards, and the Lakers have a need at power forward right now. So I think that they should. I think they could realistically use a power forward, one of the power forwards on the open market right now. And I don't think Marvin Bagley's asking price is going to be very high. Let's be honest here. If the Kings get back a first round pick and like, I don't know, Talen Horton-Tucker or something, I think that they take that. I don't know.
I want to see...
It just seems like they kind of want to offload Bagley, and the Lakers need a 4.
I want to see Marvin Bagley go to the Pistons, and here's why. That team is all like young players that nobody wants anymore. They got Dennis Smith Jr., Josh Jackson.
DSJ had a triple-double this week.
He did. Josh Jackson's been playing pretty well for them. They had Christian Wood. They don't have him anymore, but they had him. They could get Marvin Bagley. Jeremy Grant's pretty good, but he wasn't this good on
him too.
Yeah, they could trade him. I don't know, get another player that nobody wants. But like that's the whole spirit of this team.
Yeah, that would be nice. Another good place for him would be Portland, I think.
Yeah.
Portland is in need of a big right now. Like, they're just another team that's kind of in need of a big. They need more depth, period, because they're always injured. And they're pretty decent. Like, they're the 5 seed in the West right now. I think they could use a guy like Bagley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Bagley's a solid player. So, like...
Yes.
And I do think he can definitely, maybe not reach an all-star level, but he could definitely get better.
Yeah.
All right, next up. The Heat are interested in either John Wall or Kyle Lowry. What do you think about that?
I think that's a weird move for the Heat. John Wall is... I don't know. I think that waiting, as I did just kind of trash Victor, but I think he would take a pay cut to be there, and I think he's better than Kyle Lowry and is going to cost less money than John Wall. Maybe. I don't know, though. I don't know. I think the Heat are, what? The 6th seed? Yeah, they're the 6th seed. They're 500. If they make a splash at the trade deadline, I don't think it should be for an aging point guard. I think it should be for, Oladipo, because they could use another really good defensive wing/guard. I don't know. I think that's probably the best option for them. Mm-hmm. But I guess Lowry could work, but he also doesn't really fit their offense or defense. I don't know. He's gritty, but I don't really know if, I don't know.
Now you know who could use Kyle Lowry? The Lakers.
Sixers. Shut up. We're not doing this meme. They need a power forward, and I just named 2 power forwards.
They need a point guard, too.
I guess they could use a point guard.
Yeah. Next up, the Celtics are interested in trading for either Vucevic or Jeremy Grant.
They did the meme.
What's the meme?
The meme that, the Celtics are going to talk about... The Celtics are going to be, really close to trading for, 3 All-Stars.
Oh, yeah.
By the trade deadline. That we were talking about last week. That, one tweet I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And these, Jeremy Grant's, borderline. He's pretty good. And Vooch is a bona fide All-Star, so...
Could happen. I don't think it would.
Could happen.
I still, Vooch I understand, because you need a center. But at that point...
Yes.
I don't think the Magic want Kemba. They have enough guards as is.
Yeah, what's realistically, let's just be real here. What's Kemba gonna do that Cole Anthony can't do in 2 years? Cole Anthony is who you should be focused on developing right now. Don't bring in a guy like Kemba Walker that's gonna. And I get it, Cole's hurt right now, so this year is kind of a lost year. But
yeah, you're not a contender if you bring in Kemba Walker and lose Vucevic.
Yeah, exactly, and get rid of your by far best player.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that if you trade Vooch, you should just tank. Let's be real here.
They're doing that anyway. So
they're the 14 seed in the East. They're dog shit.
In their defense,
They're
John
really
Isaac
bad.
and Markelle Fultz are both out for the season. So.
No, they are, and but all the more reason to focus on. I actually don't know what Cole Anthony's injury is. I don't know if he's going to be back, but all the more reason to focus on developing your young talent.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe give Mo Bamba some more minutes, see if he can do anything, because he hasn't yet. But yeah. Next up,
I think that Jeremy Grant is a decent option for them, though. I will say that.
I mean, I would think so, but the problem is that still doesn't fill their center void. He plays like the 3 and the 4, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I mean, a lot of Celtics fans say that they need another wing, which I guess I could kind of get, but Cole Anthony's out until after the All-Star break. Yeah, I guess they want more like defensive.
You had Gordon Hayward,
I honestly
and
don't
you gave
really
him
know.
up.
But the thing with the Celtics is they're going to complain about not having a center if they don't have a center. Like, if they get another wing, it's going to be a center. It's going to be a center that they want. So, I don't know. I don't, like, just kill the most pressing bird right now. If you get a fucking all-star center, do it. Like, Vooch is, top 5 center in the league this year? I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Top 5 and he's 5th or 6th? Like, I don't know. I just, if you have the opportunity to get a bona fide, and he's also not like a fluke all-star. He's been an all-star twice now. Like, he's good. He's only, 30? I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. That seems like kind of
I don't think they can. I think they've been trying.
Like, I don't know.
They don't even need someone on Vooch's caliber. Just a solid guy would be enough.
If they got Vooch, though, like, they would be...
No, if they got Vooch, they'd be dangerous.
They'd be really fucking good.
Yeah, for sure. But I still don't think that solves the problem of needing a playmaker on that team, though.
Well, I don't think that... I think if you're the Magic, you would probably prioritize getting, like, really young assets. Like, I would prioritize getting a guy like Romeo Langford, maybe a couple of their, like, I don't know. I don't even know what you would get back because I don't think you want Kemba is the other thing.
Well, what I'm saying is,
I think you asked for, like, 3 first-round picks for sure, though. And I think the Celtics
from the
would give that
Celtics
up.
perspective, that doesn't really fix their problem of needing a playmaker.
Well, I know. That's why I'm saying I don't think they would give up Kemba.
But Kemba's not much of a playmaker.
But I guess that also doesn't really... Yeah. I mean, I still think that their best option would be the trade that we talked about a couple weeks ago for, like, Lonzo Ball and Steven Adams.
Yeah.
Because I think that gives you a very good, a significant upgrade at center. Lonzo Ball is, like, you know, we've trashed Lonzo a lot, but he's having a good year this year, and he's been a decent playmaker. So, like, can't even hate.
Yeah, he's been playing well.
Yeah. So, getting a guy like that, I think, would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also younger and cheaper than Kemba, so
yeah, and
that helps.
Even if he does go into free agency, he's not getting that Kemba money either, so you can bring him back.
Yeah, he's not getting, $30 million a year that Kemba's getting, that Kemba has not lived up to, I should also
He's been playing
note.
pretty well these past few games.
He's been all right, but, like, I mean, when you're making $30 million a year, you got to be a very good... You got to be an all-star consistently. And I get it. He hasn't played enough this year to be an all-star. But you know what I mean. Like, He hasn't been great. And he's only going to get worse.
Yeah. Next up, the Timberwolves want to trade for either John Collins or Aaron Gordon.
Why? What's the point of that? You're dog shit. If you get the first overall pick, you can draft, I don't know. If you get the first overall pick, you can trade back and get, like, Evan Mobley or something. Like,
Who's Evan Mobley? Is it this college?
He's a center.
Okay.
He's pretty good, but he's going to be... Yeah, he's 7 feet tall, but I guess he can stretch the floor, kind of, so... I don't know. Like, you're the Timberwolves. Like, you're going to be horrible forever. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the point of getting marginally slightly better at the 4 with fucking Aaron Gordon is going to do for you. Aaron Gordon? Did you say Aaron Gordon or John Collins?
That is what I said, yeah.
Why? They're 7-29 right now. Why would you do that?
Because
trading for a guy like that is something that, like, a contender does. Like, if the Celtics traded for an Aaron Gordon or a John Collins, that would be a pretty good move because that fills a need for them. The Timberwolves need fucking everything.
Look, Aiden, here's the strategy. Here's the thing you don't understand about being an NBA GM. This is why you probably won't be one ever in your career. The reason they are doing this is because if they have all the players that contenders want, the contenders then have to trade with them to get those players, meaning that they get more assets to ruin for their future.
So you just let's Timberwolves, let's get fucking PJ Tucker. How about we do that? We'll get PJ Tucker, and then we can flip him for significantly worse profit to the Nets or the Lakers at the trade deadline. Or the fucking, what are the teams being thrown around for him? It's like the Nets and the Lakers, and I think it was the Nets for the most part because I associated him with James Harden. But like, it's such a fucking Timberwolves move to trade for a guy that's gonna make you like marginally better when you need everything, and Aaron Gordon's making like $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, heal up. You got Cat and D'Lo locked down long term. Run it back next. Like, and you're gonna get a very good pick this year. You'll probably be in the top 3 again. You already have Anthony Edwards, who's looking very good. So you got him. You got Cat and D'Lo. Maybe you go out and hire a coach that's not fucking dog shit. You use that first pick on a good prospect, and the Timberwolves, like it or not, are pretty decent at drafting when they have a top 3 pick. So
here's the problem with the Timberwolves is they'll draft well, and then they'll do one of two things. They'll either ruin the player's future by being an inept franchise, or they'll break their confidence by saying they made the wrong choice.
Yeah, and you got Malik Beasley. Like, I guess you could trade him to a team like the Nets that could use him, or a team like, again, the Clippers or the Lakers or the Bucks or something. Like, I guess you could trade him to a contender if he's too much of a pain in the ass on the management. It's just why? I don't understand.
You wouldn't
why
understand.
You do all this shit. You're right. I don't understand why a team that's so completely fucking incompetent does everything that's incompetent that they can possibly think of. Like it's like you tell them, "Hey, this is the worst thing you could possibly do right now," and they're like, "Are you sure?" And you're like, "Yeah," and then they say, "Perfect." That's how we're gonna run our franchise for 30 fucking years. I don't understand it. The people of Minnesota deserve more. I don't know. It bothers me how you can run a franchise that poorly for so long.
Is that
like waste? Let's be honest. They've wasted one Hall of Famer. I think, but when it's all said and done, Karl Anthony Towns is probably going to be a Hall of Famer just based off of accolades. Like, you wasted the majority of Kevin Garnett's career. Hopefully they trade Cat so that he can go do anything else somewhere else.
They wasted some of Kevin Love's career.
They wasted Kevin.
I think this is just a theme
they
with
wasted
Timberwolves
Kevin Love's
big men.
prime.
This is a theme with Timberwolves big men because it happened with Kevin Love. It happened with Kevin Garnett. It probably happened with Karl Anthony Towns as well. They have this
K names, dude.
They have this
They're
big
dangerous.
man that starts with a K, and that player will spend most of his time in Minnesota, and then right around, when they're getting a little older, they go to a different team. They win a championship as the second, third, fourth option, whatever, and then
Kevin Garnett was probably the best player on that team. But I get what you're saying.
But he wasn't like the scoring number one option.
Oh yeah, no.
And then you win one ring, and then you retire forever disliking the Timberwolves. That's the Timberwolves way.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even figure out what to say because if you're the Timberwolves right now and you're putting out your feelers, put your feelers out for a fucking all-star. Like, you have the assets to make it work. Jared Culver, a very good first round pick this year. Malik Beasley,
Josh Okogie.
You've got good assets. Like, if Anthony Edwards, D'Lo, and Cat are all untouchable, you still have a great fucking trade package for an all-star.
And
so
Jarrett Culver, if you're listening to this,
higher.
Jarrett Culver, if you're listening to this, which you're probably not, don't listen to the Timberwolves organization. You're a good basketball player. They're just
Jarrett
bad
Culver,
at their jobs.
Here's the thing. Here's what I want you to do at your next practice. I want you to walk in and I want you to go, "Oh no, I'm Jarrett Culver. I hope the Timberwolves don't trade me to any other NBA team. That would be horrible. That would suck."
Psych him out. Reverse psychology. It's good.
Yes, reverse psychology. just do the... Oh, no. I really love Minnesota and the Timberwolves. Carl, I'm going to miss you so much if I get traded, buddy.
I hope
just
that
walk
doesn't
around
happen.
and be like, I hope I don't get traded. Uh-oh. That would really suck. And just do that the whole time. And the Timberwolves are so dumb that they'll probably trade you. And then, boom, revitalize career anywhere else.
Yeah. See, and it could be worse. We could live in Minnesota and be Timberwolves fans. That's like two negatives, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got for the trade corner this week.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
So yeah, we're 50 minutes in. Let's get to our awards.
Yes.
You want to start?
All right. Yeah, what do you want to start with?
I don't know. You want to start with... You know what? You can pick, because I don't really know.
All right, Depoy is pretty boring, and it's also cut and dry. My defensive player of the year is Rudy Gobert. It's not particularly close, but Miles Turner is my runner-up. He's, like, I guess it is pretty close, because Turner's got a lot of blocks, but Rudy Gobert's leading a very good defense again. He's also averaging like 2 blocks a game. I think it's Rudy. At this point in the season, I think it's Rudy's award to lose. Miles Turner should be an All-NBA team this year. He should be
all
the second
defensive team.
All defense center. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rudy, that's my Depoy.
This one was actually tough for me because I think Rudy is very good. I also think Ben Simmons is very good. So right now I gave the edge to Rudy.
Yeah.
But Ben Simmons is there for me. Like, they could both win it.
Yeah, Simmons, I didn't really take Simmons into account, but
Dude, I've been a Ben
definitely
Simmons
should
for
have.
Depoy advocate for like the last 2 seasons.
I know,
I
Ben
gotta see
Simmons
it
is just
happen.
one of those guys that I'm like, yeah, he's like the 3rd best defender in the league. But I
Yeah.
just, second or
gotta see
3rd.
it
He's
happen.
definitely the best wing defender right now. That shouldn't be a hot take, but it kind of is because Kawhi's playing. But Ben Simmons at this moment is the best wing defender in the league.
Yeah. All right. Next up, what we want to do?
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year. All right.
Yeah, this one was also pretty easy for me. I got Quinn Snyder of the Quinn. I got Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz. This is another guy where I think it's his award to lose at this point. The Jazz are pretty far ahead of the rest of the pack. Like, at this halfway through the season, when you're like 3 games ahead you're 3 games ahead of the next best team in the Western Conference, that's a very good place to be. So that's why I think it's Quinn's award to lose. They've been incredible this year. Now, if they slide and they get like the 3 seed, and which I think is still very much a possibility, I don't think he wins it. But I think if they get the 1 seed, and maybe even if they get the 2 seed, I think it's his award to lose. So that's why I got Quinn at Coach of the Year.
This was another one where I sort of had like 2 people going. So right now, I have Quinn Snyder leading the race. But right behind him, I got Monty Williams because he went from like the 10
That's
seed
a very good pick.
to the 2 seed. Granted, they added Chris Paul, so it wasn't just him. But the Suns are a lot better since he's been the coach there. And obviously last year they didn't have the record for it, but this season they've been very good.
Monty and Doc were the guys that I was kind of thinking were my second for Coach of the Year because, Monty's obviously been a very big part of turning around. I remember on the first couple episodes I kept talking about how Monty Williams changed the culture in Phoenix, and he really did. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doc Rivers finally unlocked the potential of a Sixers team that had never really been all that great.
Yeah.
Or at least was bad, downright bad last year. For the talent they have, he's
for sure.
I'm not gonna undersell his contribution to Joel Embiid's MVP candidacy, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Doc is definitely a big part of the reason why Joel Embiid has unlocked his potential. Ben Simmons is a hard nut to crack, though, so I get it that he hasn't gotten him all the way. He's unlocked Tobias Harris in Philadelphia. The rest of the team is playing really well. They're the 1 seed in the East, which they should have been, like, really the last couple years. They should have been, they should have been the 1 seed in the East. They have the talent to be the 1 seed in the East these past couple years. So that's why I had Doc and Monty as kind of my runner-ups, because they've both really revitalized teams that had a lot of talent and just weren't really getting utilized properly.
You know what I'm really excited for this season? Picture this. I'm going to lay down a scene, all right? We're in the playoffs, second round. The Suns have just been eliminated in the playoffs because they don't have they don't have much experience. Most of these guys are like their first time in the playoffs, except for like Chris Paul. So they get eliminated in the second round. Not amazing, but not bad, considering it's their first time in the playoffs in how long. And we get another epic baller Monty Williams speech.
I don't want that. I want him to do that like after the Western Conference Finals or something. Like I want them to
I
push
think they're going to make it to the Western
Lakers
Conference
or the Clippers.
Finals,
They probably won't. But yeah, no, that's a good point.
Because, like, I mean,
I don't know.
I guess
I think that this is kind of boom or bust for Chris Paul as well. Like, I really want him. Like, do you think he'll re-sign in Phoenix? That's the other thing. He's a free agent this summer, isn't he?
I forget who. I think it was Beasles that made the video, and he said like, there's only like 1 or 2 guys that have been able to maybe not stay ageless, but like have been able to maintain their game through their entire careers up to this point, and it's LeBron and Chris Paul. Because like Chris Paul,
one of them is a 6-foot point guard.
Yeah, because Chris Paul, like obviously his stats have dropped a little bit, but like he is still playing like one of the best point guards in the league right now. And
he's
so
a top 5 point guard.
So I don't think like obviously, you know, getting older is gonna eventually catch up to him. But, like, I don't think this season is, like, you know, he either has to win the championship this season or he's going to go ride the bench for another team or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I still think he has a chance.
Well, I thought I predicted this to be kind of his fall-off year a little bit. Not even, like, he falls off the face of the planet. I just didn't think he was going to be able to maintain a really high level of production. And I'm glad I was wrong because I love Chris Paul, but, you know.
Chris Paul, dude, like, my second favorite player of all time. I love that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, what are we doing?
How about we do most improved? Because this one should have been harder for me, but I had to give it to him.
All right, go for it.
I want to say my runner-up is Christian Wood, a guy that we completely forgot about last time, but he definitely deserves to be in the conversation for this award. He would be one if he's been injured for like half the year, though, so I couldn't really give it to him.
Yeah.
My most improved player is the man himself, Dr. J. Julius Randle in New York. Julius Randle has gone from a guy who was kind of an overpaid forward who put up decent stats on a bad team to a guy that completely turned around the New York Knicks on the court single-handedly. Like, he's been their best player and really helped their turnaround. They're the 5 seed in the East. Like, he has been excellent. He got his first All-Star nod, and I get it. Like, he's only kind of had a marginal improvement with statistics. Like, I think he's averaging, like, maybe 2 more points and, like, maybe 1 or 2 more rebounds. But what he's done in New York is very admirable. He's going to get paid this offseason. I think that he is the most improved player.
I am going to give my reason for why he's not mine real quick.
Okay.
The reason why, multiple reasons. One, obviously he played well, but he's playing well, but he doesn't have such a big like statistical increase necessarily.
Yeah.
And then 2, I think moving to the East has helped a little bit with like the Knicks record, because I think he was good in New Orleans, but
he's always been good, but he's never been like an all-star until this year, which is why I had to give it to him, because he kind of like he didn't take a statistical jump, but like as a player and as a leader, he did take that next step.
That's fair. So I also had Christian Wood as my runner-up, but he's only played 17 games this season, so can't give it to him.
Yeah.
My most improved player is Mr. Zach LaVine. He has jumped. So,
ooh, that's a really good one.
yeah, the Bulls are the 9 seed, but again, I mean, really 4 through 12 is all about the same anyway. Zach LaVine, his statistics, he jumped from 25-5-4 to 29-5-5. So not super crazy, but here's what it gets really good. He went from shooting 45% from the field, 38% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line last season, 45, 38, 80. To this season, he's shooting 52 from the field, 43 from 3, and 85 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
So he's just gotten a lot more efficient with it. I think he's taking probably the same amount of shots as he did last year, if not maybe a little bit less, but he's just been a lot more efficient with the ball. And the Bulls, even though they have a lot of injuries, he's been able to like keep them in playoff contention. Him and Kobe White.
Yeah, that's a great point. LaVine is another guy that kind of took that jump this year. So I definitely get it. All right. What do we have? Okay, we got 6th man of the year. Let's do 6th man of the year, then rookie of the year, then MVP.
Sure.
All right, so 6th man of the year. I think we got the same guy. Mine is Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, mine is also Jordan Clarkson. It didn't change from the quarter season awards.
Yeah.
He's averaging.
I didn't even have to look at his stats. He's been very good.
Yeah, he's averaging 18 points in 26 minutes off the bench.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Production.
And he's
also, isn't he like 50-40-90 or like close to it?
He's not 50-40-90. I think he's like 48-39 some maybe he is.
He was shooting like 97% from the free throw line
he's
the
shooting,
first quarter of the season or something.
I think he still is shooting like 9. I think he's 97 from free throw and then like 47-38 or something like that from the other two.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers, but
he's 45-37-97.
Yeah.
So not exactly 50-40-90, but pretty close.
Yeah, and he again 18 and 26 minutes off the bench. That's crazy.
Yeah. That is ridiculous production.
Yeah.
He is he is one of the main reasons that the Jazz are as good as they are. And the fact that they traded like, who was it? Was it like Dante Exum for him? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that was, you gotta remember that Cavs, like, everyone that played with LeBron on that 2018 Cavs team kind of sucked, and then they got traded to other teams and played better.
Yeah.
Like, that was a rough season for any Cav not named LeBron.
That's true. That is true.
All right,
that one was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. Now we're doing Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
This one should also be pretty easy.
Yeah, it's LaMelo for me.
Yeah, it's LaMelo.
Runner-up is Tyrese Halliburton, and I think that it's a possibility that Tyrese could pass him in the next couple months, but I don't think it's very likely. LaMelo Ball has been fucking incredible this year.
My runner-up was actually Anthony Edwards, because statistically...
That's another good one. He was like third.
Yeah, I was looking at like the comparison between Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Like, obviously, LaMelo Ball's team is in the playoffs right now, but like statistically, they're pretty similar, except for the fact that Anthony Edwards is shooting like 37, 30, 80 shooting splits.
Yeah, he's super inefficient.
Yeah, which isn't great. But he has the dunk of the year.
But LaMelo Ball, as a rookie, is averaging 15, 6 and 6 with a steal and a half per game, which is an underrated part of his game.
Yeah, no, he's
shooting
NBA
45 and 38% from the field and from three. Like, those are like, I mean, he's already like offensively more efficient than like Ben Simmons. Like, that's ridiculous.
Those are above average role player numbers, and he's doing that as a rookie who's played like 30 games with not much of a preseason at all.
Yeah, he's fucking 19, dude. He's setting the league on fire. And by the way, there's no way he's 6'6", right?
He's what?
Like, he's listed at 6'6" on Google, but there's no way he's 6'6".
That makes sense. Somewhere around there, 6'7" maybe, but like around there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe it's just because the Hornets have kind of a lot of like Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham are both like 6'3" and.
Well, Devontae
He
Graham's
just
like
looks taller in
6'1".
comparison. Yeah.
But yeah, LaMelo's been playing well.
Yeah, he's been good.
And then MVP. We did all the interesting ones first. These are all like really, we have like the same thing for both of them.
Yeah, pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Mine is Joel.
Joel Embiid, yeah. And
he's taking that next step.
Yeah, he's averaging 30 and 12 a game. 30 and 12. He's
so
shooting.
Insane,
here's where it gets really crazy. He's shooting 52 from the field, which is really good when you're averaging 30 and 12. He's shooting 41% from the three-point line, right? On like 5 or 6 attempts a game, I think. And he's shooting 85% from the free throw line as a center in the NBA.
So ridiculous, dude.
He's out of his mind. He's shooting Zach LaVine shooting splits as a center.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. He's taken the next step, and as a result, the Sixers have taken the next step, which is like the definition of the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's significantly better. He's incredible. He in every sense of the award, he is the MVP. He's the best. He's been probably the best player in the league. Like, LeBron's still the best player in the league, but like statistically, he's been like the best player in the league. He's been the best center in the league. He's been the best player on his team. He's the reason his team is the first seed.
Yeah.
It's all Joel. That's it.
And he'll literally he'll go off for 40 and 20 on any given night. He just did it on our current winner for Defensive Player of the Year like a few nights ago.
Yeah.
So like
he fucking dogged Rudy Gobert, and
yeah,
like it wasn't even close. Like the game was close, but Joel
Rudy Gobert didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, no.
And I love Joel Embiid. I like Joel Embiid because he talks trash a lot, but he can back it up. But it's good to see him succeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are our awards.
Yeah.
We're over an hour, so we should probably end it here. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's all I got.
All right, then remember to like and subscribe and check out the description for our personal channels and all that stuff. Podcast, Twitter, Aiden's article, and yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.
Bye.